Hello, podcast people, friends, neighbors, everyone that's listening. I actually just got, not just, but like a week or two ago, because it's the beginning of the year, right? So I just got an update or like a year in review, right? And my podcast company sent me this year in review on all of my statistics. And you guys, I have people in different countries. Like, my little brain can't comprehend this. It's like I just assumed people in Saskatchewan or at least people in Canada, were listening to me. So hello from all the other countries, and hello from wherever you are. This is really awesome. This is really cool. Yeah, I had more than one country, and even like all across Canada. And yeah, this is awesome. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. I will absolutely try to continue to show up for you as life allows. And thank you. I love it. And on YouTube, I have no idea where you guys are from, but I see the numbers. I see how many people are watching. I read the comments, and it's really freaking cool. I had no idea that this was going to be heard all over the world. So, welcome. Hello. Today's podcast is on limiting beliefs, managing, or not even managing, but just becoming aware of our fears, of our ego, of just all of those kind of blocks and all the things, those challenges that we kind of stumble upon, right? All of those things, those stumbling blocks in our life. What's going on in our life that is holding us back? Those judgments, those projections, those places where we're not owning our stuff, those places where we're not sitting with our stuff, the places where we're not acknowledging our emotions, or understanding our thought patterns, or just acknowledging or becoming aware of those limiting beliefs. Okay, so all about limiting beliefs today, but not even just limiting beliefs. Like, I want to actually use the word ego, because, well, I want to use all of the words because not that they all speak to a different piece, but because limiting beliefs only speak to like the mind, the thought patterns, right? The beliefs here. Now, I do believe that it's true, but I also believe in like subconscious beliefs and all of that other stuff. So a subconscious belief is not one that might be coming to the surface, right? So, I mean, that is there, and those are, still to move through. But I want to like say like those emotions, like the fear is an emotion, right? So we need to move through those fears. What are those fears? And those fears do show up. And actually, that's probably the best word. That is probably the best word, because everything is, and actually, this takes me back to, I don't have it here, it's upstairs, but the book, A Course in Miracles. It is one of, and it took me a long time to read it. It is one of the first books I read. It probably took me from, I think I bought it in 2012, and it probably took me till 2016 to finish, 15 or 16, because it must have been like December of 15, like 2015, because in 2016 I was starting a book club for A Course in Miracles. So for 2 years I reread the book, 2016 and 17, and I reread it with a group of people, and we conducted a book club. So that was really pretty cool. But the Course in Miracles, the gist of it, is there's only really two things to look at. And so am I going to cover, my little mind, am I going to cover both of these things in this podcast? Maybe not. Maybe I'll talk about the fear aspect of it. But the only two things to cover in A Course in Miracles are take the awareness of your fears, your thoughts, your emotions. Fear, right? Like I said, fear is the emotion. But where is that fear coming from? It's coming from a thought pattern or a perspective or a belief system or a past experience or something told us or something we saw or something that has caused that emotion of fear in us. And then once we're stuck in that emotion of fear, or once we kind of hold on to that emotion of fear, it's kind of like, okay, now we need to continue to stay scared of whatever pattern we're staying scared of, right? So once we believe that we're not worthy enough, once we believe that, again, we're not lovable, once we believe that we're never going to get that job, once we believe that no one's going to love us, I guess that's unlovable, right? Once we believe that we aren't going to be good at this, or once we believe that the dark is a place for my son, I can't talk about him because I don't like the dark either. So I can't just project that onto him. I will admit, in my taking responsibility for my fears, the dark is one of them. But as an adult, I know that if I just shine light on the dark, I can see in the dark. So if I just grab a flashlight, if I just turn the light on somewhere, somehow, the dark goes away and then I can see and it's all good. But I still don't like to be out in the dark. Like if it was just dark and I had no source of light, I would be scared. So it is one of my fears. A little off topic, except for these are fears. These are the fears. These are the emotions. These are the belief systems, the patterns, the belief systems that limit us in our life, right? These are the blocks. These are the things that we need to shift through. Whether it be about love or family, whether it be about our health, being scared of, like the people who are scared of, getting sick, being sick, and just have, fear about dying, which is harm to our body, right? That's a fear. That's a fear. So being scared to die, let's just take this ultimate one. Being scared to die. If we can move through the fear of death and we can say, okay, it's okay if I die. Seriously. And I feel like, I was thinking about this the other day. And when I say the other day, it really wasn't that far away, but maybe a week or two, a month ago. Like it wasn't that far away. But the other day I was thinking about this. I'm just like, if I came, it was because, not that it matters, but it was because we're going to update our wills. So of course death comes in there, right? So it's not that I'm afraid to die, but let's just say if my vehicle was going awry and I was on the verge of having a deathly accident, yes, I would probably be shitting my pants and scared, right? Like I would be scared. But it's not the whole thing of death. Like I feel like death is kind of like a transformation to the other side, because I know my soul is not going anywhere. Even if my body dies, even if this ear, dies, even if this mouth can't talk anymore, even if these eyes can't see anything, even if my brain shuts down, my heart's not beating anymore, there's no blood pumping through my veins, my body dies, but my soul doesn't die. So I'm not scared of death because I know I can't possibly die. My soul's not going anywhere. It's leaving this body, but it's not, even if it leaves the earth, it's not leaving the universe. My soul, you cannot kill my soul. And because of that, I'm not super really afraid of death, right? Okay. So now if we took that fear and we took all of these other little fears and been like, okay, well, if we're not scared of death, that being said, the reason I'm scared of the dark is because I'm afraid some animal's gonna jump out of the woods and eat me or some, person is gonna scare me to death or do something terrible, and I won't have essentially seen it coming. But so actually, let me work through this fear right now, right in front of you, right with you guys. So if I wasn't scared of death, or if I'm not scared of death, then, okay. So what is the other fear behind someone or something? And now it's a fear. I was going to say safety, but not necessarily safety. It's a fear of not being able to like stand up for myself, not being able to um, protect myself, not being able to hold my own, if you will. So that needs to change. If you guys listen to the last podcast, I was talking about my solar plexus. And actually, I was still thinking about that podcast because I am still moving through it. This is the final chakra. And you guys, I have ordered my yellow yoga mat. So it should be here in 3 to 5 days. So solar plexus, of course, that's a solar plexus fear. So if I can move through that fear, as I am doing right now in front of you, then that will shift. And that's what I'm talking about. Getting to the bottom of what am I afraid of? What's going on for me? As I just did, okay, I could sit here and just say, I'm afraid of the dark. And I mean, there's a place of acceptance. And I did come to the place of acceptance. It's fine if I'm scared of the dark. And it was fine that I was scared of the dark. And I managed is not the right word, but I took care of it. It's kind of like I was talking about the fears with the snowstorms. I can choose not to drive in the middle of a snowstorm, right? In the middle of a blizzard. So I could just choose to not go outside in the dark or even be in my house in the dark without turning the lights on, right? So if I was going outside, I would turn the lights on. It's not that big of a thing. So there's a place of choosing that until coming to the realization, until moving further, until, up leveling. That was the staircase. If you guys have sorry for my audio podcast peeps. I drew a staircase with my fingers because I was talking about, if you guys have listened to the past podcasts, about the up leveling and how you kind of hit a plateau. So it's kind of like, okay, well, I understand. I have the awareness of I have this fear. And again, I don't feel like managing is the right word, but choosing differently. So before I chose, when I knew I had the fear, I chose to go into fight or flight. Well, so then I up leveled and I knew I still had the fear and I chose differently. I chose not to go into fight or flight. I chose to work through it or be with it in a way that was very courageous. Yeah. From the Courage audio or the Courage podcast. And I chose to look at it differently in the way of holding it differently. Now, today, I'm looking at up-leveling again in the way of just removing it all together, right? And there's sometimes more than 3 staircases. There's like 6 staircases. There's 16 staircases. It doesn't matter. There's just different levels that we choose to engage, but we have to come to the awareness and we have to change perspectives and we have to move through and we have to find more courage and we have to dig a little deeper. Does that make sense? These limiting beliefs. Now, to go back to what I was even saying at the very beginning, number 1, we have limiting beliefs that are up in our minds, that are like our thought patterns. But as I mentioned, there's also subconscious or unconscious thought patterns as well that we need to dig deep in. There's also those heart emotional things that we need to look at. What are the emotions coming up? And they can be things like anger, obviously fear, worry, which is a kind of a type of fear if you ask me, any of those anxieties, any of those things. And then we ask, or we kind of put them together. Why is this anxiety coming up? Well, because I have a limiting belief, or because I have a belief system that there's not enough money in the bank account. And oh my God, now I'm freaking out. And so then we have to take a look at that feeling, that thought pattern or belief system, and take a look at, we can also start with, how are things showing up in our life? So if we can't quite pinpoint the belief system, if we can't quite pinpoint the emotion, we can take a look at how things are showing up in our life. So if we're like, I don't really like, or I'm just kind of tolerating, or there's this thing that's really getting under my skin, or there's even the physical things. There's like my shoulders, like there's a ache in my shoulders or something like that, or all of the physical things that could ever possibly happen. heart situations, or any tummy issues, a lot of fear in the tummy issues, hip issues, all of the things. So we can take a look at those body things and say, what's underlying this? What is below this? Because what happens, let me just get to the bare bones of this. And I am going to do hand gestures here, so I'm going to try to explain it. But essentially, how much we are connected, or how much faith, or how much trust, or how much acceptance, and how much awareness, and how much we are connected, how much our soul is connected to the divine. And now we're still human. We're on this earth. We have not transcended yet. So there is an aspect that's still down on this earth, that still has an ego, right? But how much we're connected and how spiritual we are in the aspect of faith and trust and all of that stuff, that, because our belief systems reflect that. And this is where I'm getting to. Our belief systems reflect how much trust we have. And our emotions reflect how much trust we have in our belief systems, that reflect how much connection we have to the divine. So the connection we have to the divine is really everything. Soul to soul healing, meaning getting to the bottom of that connection of just all of this spiritual and all of this energetic work. So connecting to the divine, connecting you fully and wholly to the divine, and that trust and that connection of the universe, of God, of creator, of the divine, of whatever you refer to it as the energetic, universal energetic patterns. And so if you're connected way up to the divine, you're going to have more conscious and more trusting and more accepting and more spiritual thought patterns. And when you have those more spiritual thought patterns, you're going to feel more heart-centered. You're going to feel obviously more connected. You're going to feel more intuitive. You're going to feel, all the things. You're going to speak your truth. You're going to be connected with your heart center in the way of your soul, your spirit. You're going to understand it. You're going to know it from the depths of your soul, because your soul is connected. This is the thing that's connecting to the spiritual world, right? And you're going to stand in your power, and you're going to feel those truth in your emotions, in your body, in your womb, in your soul. And you're going to be grounded in who you really are. So your whole body is going to be connected. So we can take a look at our bodies. So going past the emotions, that is what transcends. That is what shows up in our lives. So as without, so within, as within, so without. That if we're showing up in that manner, in that depth of manner, that's what's going to be showing up in our lives. So we can take a look. We can start, if you can't quite get to the bottom of those thought patterns, which one of the best places to get to the bottom of the thought patterns is meditation, quiet time, and observing your thoughts. Meditation has never been more clear to me. I know I'm all over the place, but that's okay. Grab your notebook, write it down. Meditation has never been so clear to me until someone told me that to observe my thoughts like they're clouds floating in the sky. So, I'm quite, my third eye, I see that clairvoyance. But even if you're like more of an audio intuitive, where do you think, see, feel, hear your thoughts? Where do you're talking to yourself all the time. Start to understand your thoughts. Become very aware of them. So take some quiet time, sit down, throw on some meditation music, and just listen to yourself. Just listen to yourself. Listen to your thoughts. Sit down, have a very honest conversation, and just listen to that little girl inside you, that little boy inside you, that soul, that spirit. Just listen to those thoughts that are kind of running through your mind, they will tell you, I don't like this. I'm upset with this. This is going on. They will tell you. So that's how you hear those thoughts. That's how you get to the bottom of those limiting belief systems. And all of your thought patterns, okay? And your patterns. The next thing, or the thing that I was talking about, is the physical, your outer world. So if you grab a notebook, or however you make your notes, or start to understand things, start to take inventory, start to make a list and write down, what is it about your life that you're uncomfortable with? I don't like, I'm uncomfortable with where my finances are. I'm uncomfortable with where my love life is, or I'm uncomfortable that I'm, fighting with a family member or friend. I don't like how my relationship with my kids are. I don't like where my career is headed. I don't like, the job I'm in, because I feel like I'm suited to a different purpose, like my soul is asking me to do that. I'm not comfortable in my environment. I'm not comfortable in this home. I would rather be living in a different country. And oh my God, I don't know how many people I've talked to who say I'd rather be living, not necessarily a different country, but yes, that has come up. Like, I can't believe, but just a different, even obviously I'm within Canada, right? So the people that I run into or speak to in classes and stuff are not all Canadian, but they say, I'm living here now and I would rather be living. If that's something that you need to jot in your notes, take note of that. I would rather be living in a different country, by the ocean, on the prairies. I would rather be by a forest, wherever. So take a look at your physical environment. Take a look at your life, the entirety of your life. I would rather not be on my computer so much. I would rather be living more of a simplistic life. I would rather have a garden than a cement beaten path, right? Whatever it is, write it down. I would rather not be surrounded with so much furniture. I'd rather be traveling the country, the world, whatever, in an RV of some kind, right? I'd rather be on the road than be have one solid address. Okay? Whatever you want your life to look like, and whatever it looks like now, start taking notes, right? I'd rather, as I mentioned, like the relationships, or even even your health. So the 4 things, you can write these down. You will have heard them before. You will probably hear them again. But the 4 things that I look at are relationships, not in any particular order. Career, purpose, kind of, money, finances, that kind of stuff. And relationships is not just like love life. It's relationships with your kids, with your community, with your family, your friends, all of it. Your coworkers, everything. So then your career and your finances, your health, and of course, your health, your career, your love life. Oh, maybe. Okay, so I think actually I have career and finances is different. Money is one. So money is one, love life is one, career and purpose is one, and health is one. So those 4 areas, I'm sorry I put them together. You could really classify it as 3 areas if you would like, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. But I look at purpose a little bit different than money, but you can put them together. Absolutely, because so many people, the universe is telling me right now, about 80% of people, their finances and their career, their purpose go together. So about 80% of people. So you can jot it down together. That's absolutely perfectly fine. But sometimes people just kind of like earn money on the side and it doesn't really matter where it's coming from. And so you can be like, it's kind of like financial freedom, or like financially secure, or just kind of just like there's like someone who's like has a career or has some financial security over here as like, let's say like a lawyer, and they like their job, like they're okay with it. It's all good and everything, but they really live for taking that money. And so their purpose is not necessarily, it's just kind of a job, but their purpose is for taking that money. And so the other 20% is kind of like putting it into things like serving the world or volunteering or ending famine, the food crisis, and or just saving the world. And that is, they go places and they do things and they just start helping the world. So it doesn't matter how you categorize those things, but just start taking inventory of life. Just start writing down where you are in your life right now and how you really want to see it. What is your soul called to doing? That's where you're going to find your limiting beliefs. That's where you're going to find your fears. That's where you're going to find these misaligned emotions, right? So we're getting ourselves into alignment with who we truly are. So as I was talking about, and I said I was going to do some hand gestures, and I never told you what they were. Essentially, I was only pointing to the crown chakra or above the connection, right? I was pointing to like the top of my head or above. I was pointing to God. I was pointing to the universe. And when I was talking about the mind and the meditation, I was pointing to, kind of the third eye, the intuition, how you really focus the mind, the thoughts, the belief systems. And when I was talking about the emotions, I was pointing to the heart center. And I think I did say, opening up your heart center and your spiritual capacity, your soul. And then when I was talking about the physical and the world and the environment and all of that stuff surrounding you, I was pointing down here to like the root, the solar plexus, and the sacral chakras. So that's the physicalness of your body. So you can also, I didn't mention, but I will mention really quickly, also write down those health things, as I was, I guess, talking about before. So this takes me back, I'm going to wrap right back up to the first conversation that I started, which I never did finish, and I'm going to finish it now. The Course in Miracles. And so I've been talking this whole time about the fears. And so the Course in Miracles speaks a lot about your fears. And it talks about the fears. That's like the only word that they use. Actually, the second word that they use is ego. And they kind of like interchange them because your ego is your fears. Your ego is those things that's stopping you, blocking you. It's your false self. It's your limiting beliefs. It's your wounded self. It's all the things that is not your soul. So they talk about two things, and this is how I'm going to wrap it up. As I mentioned at the beginning, they talk about two things. The first being your ego, your fears, your false self, your limiting beliefs, all of that stuff. And all of the stuff that I had you grab a journal today and start writing down, what are your thoughts? What are your emotions? What's going on physically in your life? What's showing up for you, right? The second thing that they talk about is how it's your false self. If that is your false self, what is your true self? Who is your true self? If the ego is your false self, if your fears are your false self, if you're just making, my hair is tickling me. It's always a thing. If that is your false self, who is your true self? Where is your true self? What is your true self? How do you connect with the truth of who you are? That is the second thing that they talk about. They talk about your fears, and then they talk about love. They talk about fears and love. Two things. They talk about your false self and your true self. And I don't think that they use those exact words. I don't remember. It was a few years ago. But I know the gist of it. The gist of it is that there's only two things. There's the truth and then there's a lie. That's it. Your false self and your limiting beliefs and your wounded self is telling you a lie. That's it. You're not being honest with yourself in the way of who are you really? Now, flip the page or draw a line. Here's your false self that You just took inventory, and there's probably more to dig into. There's probably so much more to dig into and so much more awareness to come around, because that's what I'm talking about. That staircase of up leveling and growth and transformation and moving through, and it's kind of like, I was going to say the scale of consciousness, but that's a whole other thing. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's like up leveling your consciousness, up leveling and connecting. And you can connect. So the Course in Miracles, the miracle is changing your perspective from your limiting belief to the truth of what really is. That's it. That's it. Changing your belief system, changing from your false limiting belief, your false self, to your true self. That is the miracle. Changing that perspective, changing that feeling, changing not just your environment, but like getting into alignment with your true self and really becoming conscious of your true self versus the false self. So there's your fears that are keeping you small. There's your fears that are holding you back. There's your fears that you're struggling with. These are the challenges. These are the lessons. These are what we need to shift through and work through and become so damn aware and take responsibility for all of this stuff that is keeping us small, that is limiting our lives. And these are our false belief systems. This is not the truth. This is not the truth of who you really are. So taking these false belief systems, limiting belief systems, this false self, and shifting, so put a line, shifting to your true self. Who is your true self? Now, I started with the most true self we can be is connected. I'm pointing like way up here, way up to the universe, way up to the sky, like way up past the sun, whoever or whatever or wherever, connecting to the heart, the center of the universe. We're connecting to the center of the universe, wherever the hell God lives in your little, in your mind, wherever you connect out of yourself to the truth of the universe. Connect to the truth of the universe. To the truth of the universe, and I'm just going to go on a little rant about the truth now, is that you are whole. The truth is that you are a son of God. The truth is that you are made in his likeness. And now, if you don't use the word God, use the word like stars. Like, the truth is you are a fucking star. Like, you are made of star stuff. The same things that those stars and the moon and the earth and the trees and the butterflies and the eagles, you are made of the same things. You are just as worthy. You are just as worthy, and you are just as divine, and you are just as brilliant. You are this brilliantly shining being. You are amazing. You are miracles waiting to happen. And that is actually the miracle of shifting from thinking that we are these little humans, we are less than, we are not worthy, we are this making ourselves small, right? This worthless little human that can only have this much stuff. We can only have, $500, $5,000. We can only have, we don't get the love of our lives, and we have to sacrifice. We have to sacrifice, and we have to make all these choices, and that is not true at all. That is your limiting beliefs. That is your false self. That is your small little human ego self. That's not true at all. So the more we connect to the divine, the more we connect to our true self in the way of our soul, our spirit, our beingness, the truth of who we are inside, the truth who we are connected to the divine universe. Sorry, huge yawn went, like a huge release right there. That is the truth of who we are. And if we are not acting like, behaving like. Okay, so the word is actually love. Our true self, yes. But not necessarily the opposite of fear, because I don't think love has an opposite. I forget exactly how the Course in Miracles words it exactly. But the truth doesn't really have an opposite. But if you're in your false self, you're not in your truth, right? So the word is love. And so if you are not so full of love and gratitude and peace, and those are the three words but like trust and faith, and like it comes with all of those words like abundance, respect, not pride. Pride is like, I'm better than you kind of thing. But there's a soulful pride. I don't know how else to describe that. There is a sense of, I am worthy. I'm worthy just because I am. But this place, let me try to continue to describe it. This place is not comparing. It's not comparing. It's actually not believing that you are better than anyone else. It's actually knowing. It's a knowingness that everyone is worthy. You love everyone because everyone is just as worthy as you. Everyone and everything is just as worthy as you are. And so there's this knowingness that yes, I am worthy. I am all that is. I am star stuff. I am the divine. I am a child of God. And so are you. 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 And your behavior starts to reflect that. Your environment starts to reflect that. Your choices start to reflect that because your belief systems start to reflect that. And that is where you kind of settle into and you change your perspective of I am not worthy to I am worthy. And your belief systems start to reflect that. They start to, so if we go back to those things, if we even put money and career together, so I am loved, I am worthy, I am connected. These are the three things that, not so randomly, this is the prayer, I guess, affirmation, but more like a prayer that the universe sent to me in my mama heart when I was rocking my kids to sleep. I would rock them to sleep and I would pray to them. You are loved, you are worthy, you are enough, and you are connected. You are so connected. You are so divine. So you are connected to all that is, and you are fully worthy, and you are so loved. You have so much love in your heart. Already, I was, making sure they knew that they had love in their heart. And at the same time, I was also empowering myself at the same time as I was empowering my kids. These three things, if you know to the depths of your soul, do you like how I connected that back? To the depths of your soul, when your soul is connected to the divine, you are standing in, you are being in, you are connecting to. You are showing up as, you are being your true self, you're being your most authentic self, and you're just showing up in a divine way. You're showing up in a divine way. So, I'm gonna maybe leave it at that because I kind of put two together. I had, kind of your limiting beliefs. This one was supposed to be on your limiting beliefs, but I didn't, in the end here, I didn't feel like I could just leave you on a cliffhanger with your limiting beliefs. I had to tell you where you were going. I had to tell you the opposite. I couldn't just say, here, you're a bunch of limiting beliefs, because you are not. That's not the point. The point is to transform. The point is to find miracles. The point is to shift. The point is to heal. The point is to move through. The point is to find the awareness and the acceptance and the trust and all of the things to get to and find that true self, to connect to your spirit. But that was going to be my next podcast. So I will see if I feel complete with this or if there's more to speak on there. There might be more to speak on there. I'm not sure exactly at this time because I'm trying to keep my head wrapped around the limiting beliefs and the fear and the ego and stuff. but they really do go hand in hand. So it might be this podcast might be to be continued, because they really do go hand in hand. And actually, you know what? I think that there is another one coming. This one will be to be continued. And I will go more into the whole truth and love and everything. And I might do, if I can get it set up, a meditation. Yes, I should be able to. I have everything here. To do a meditation with you guys, and to get you guys meditating, connecting, and sinking into the truth of who you are, your divine self, and your most empowered self, and your just seriously the truth of who you are. Who are you truthfully in the divine? Okay, so grab your journal, make your notes, write down what it is you want to shift, because next time on the next podcast, I'm going to do a little shifting. Okay, cool. We're going to do a little shifting. Yeah, that will be one. And then I have 2 more to go to conclude this. Including the meditation one, I have 2 more after that. So 3 more to go to conclude this season of my podcast. So far, I hope you really, really enjoyed them. Share them with your family, your friends, and everyone you know. And connect with me wherever you connect with me. As I said, all the links should be below. And that, just start clicking links. Website link, Facebook link. There should be a YouTube. There is a YouTube link. I'm not sure if it should be on my podcast. I don't remember. I have 3, 4, 5 links there. LinkedIn, Instagram, they're all there. They should all be there. And you can also email me whenever. Okay. Come back for part 2 of this sequel podcast that I had no idea I was doing today. I'll see you on the next one.